Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to my first ever build video. In this video, I'm going to be making a bar top for a restaurant in Florida, which is crazy because I'm all the way in Arkansas. So having this opportunity is just crazy. I started out by going to Old Log and Sawmill and kind of looking through his selection. I'm usually used to working with walnut. However, he wanted a lighter colored slab, so I went with this nice pecan slab. I had it surfaced over there at Olagan, and it kind of had a little issue because it lost a little bit of its width. But in the future, you'll see how I kind of, fixed that and made it a little bit wider and kept the width on there. I took it home, and I was ready to go at it. And you'll see that I used this little construction saw that's probably bought probably like 10 years ago. So I needed an excuse to buy this nice track saw. And this thing is the real deal. It's one of those tools that you wish you would have bought a lot sooner, because now I find myself using it a lot more. At this point, I'm just kind of messing around. I did cut a big chunk off. However, I don't cut it to shape till the very end. As I mentioned earlier, I couldn't afford to lose more width of the slab, so I thought I could fill the edges with epoxy. So I started out with building a mold out of melamine and sheathing tape. The process was really actually kind of enjoyable. It's just laying a lot of tape down and kind of overlapping it. I put some silicone in the edges just to make sure nothing leaks out. The crazy part is that it ended up taking 6 gallons of epoxy to fill those edges. And, I was starting to wonder, like, what the heck's going on? Why I kept filling it up and it kept just emptying it right out. And it turns out that the wood was soaking it up. And it sucks, but at the same time, like, at least I know that the slab is like well reinforced with resin and wood. So yeah, now it's time to demold it. It wasn't that hard, just unscrewing, hitting it with a hammer, hitting it with a chisel and a hammer, and it all came out really smoothly. However, this was around the time that I stopped recording. This project ended up interfering with a bunch of other orders, and I wasn't rushing it, but I didn't want to take the time to like pull out my camera, change camera angles every few seconds. So I ended up not recording probably the coolest parts, and I'm kind of regretting now because making this video, I kind of like, these are like the most important parts. And in that part, I took the slab to Olagan. He had it reflattened, and then I took it home. I got this new CNC, the Shaper Origin. And that thing was cool, but each design would take like 2 hours to cut with a thick bit with a 1/4 inch and then with a 1/16 inch bit. So like that took a lot of time. Pouring the epoxy took a lot of time, and it was like a lot of guessing work. Usually with like with the sports boards, I know how much resin it takes, but with like projects like these, like I'm here kind of like guessing how much epoxy I need, and not really trying to think about the video, but more of, how this project's going to be. So after a big time jump, everything's engraved, everything's poured. I ended up taking it back again to a log and sawmill and having it, shaved off a little bit of the epoxy that I poured. That way it ensures that it's, when I sand it down, that it's relatively flat, because otherwise if I just use my sander for all of it, would have been kind of wavy. It's like impossible to get it, flat. And this is how I usually do my sports boards too. When I shave it, I don't shave it all the way through, which you probably could get away with, but this is just what I'm used to, so that's what I did. And after this, it's just a whole lot of sanding. Here you see me use the Rotex 125. It's pretty much like a angle grinder sander thing, and it makes everything a lot easier. A lot of dust. So here you see me kind of wiping the dust off with mineral spirits, and you can kind of see what it's going to look like already. And that's at 120. In between sandpapers, I use pencil marks to make sure I kind of hit every spot evenly. I send it up all the way to 320. And, I could have gone higher, but since this is going to be a bar top, 320 is probably a good grit, because if you go higher, then it becomes like more delicate, and you start considering like whether the oil finish will be absorbed correctly. So 320 is kind of like where I usually go up to. And yeah, so this is the final part. It's pretty much applying the finish, and I went ahead and used Odie's oil. This is also what I use on my regular boards. I use my palm sander to buff in the oil. It kind of vibrates into there and kind of rubs it down, make sure it hits every pore. You can see me using my drone. I thought it would be a good idea, and I thought it would look cool, but it was also like a really windy day, and for some reason I thought I could use a drone and not my tripod. So yeah, so big learning experience in this board. I look forward to future projects. Hopefully I can get some better footage. If you like content like this is my first one, so I'm trying to get better. Please subscribe. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one.